The main reason I see people burn out, entrepreneurs in their businesses, or their business just isn't growing how they want to, is because they feel like they're running around constantly putting out fires. It feels like everything that they look at in their business at one time or another is crumbling, and they're like, what do I do? And they're just frantically firefighting every situation as it comes up. And so I want to share with you guys just a simple framework that I think about with my team when we're trying to triage what are the important fires that actually need to be put out and which ones can we afford to just let burn. And it's a very simple mental exercise. You ask yourself, is this a house fire or is this just a dumpster fire? Now, the thing is, like, dumpster fires suck. Don't get me wrong. Like, nobody wants to, like, walk past a dumpster fire and not do something about it. But the thing is, a dumpster fire is relatively self-contained. It's going to burn itself out at some point, or it's just going to keep doing what it's doing over there. But it's not necessarily threatening the structural integrity of the building itself. And so when we sit down to troubleshoot, okay, what do we need to tackle right now as we go into this war zone, as we are in this crisis prevention or management phase of the business, and we have to identify where do we allocate our limited resources. We need to identify what are the house fires, the fires that are threatening the structural integrity of the business itself. And this is very difficult to do, actually, because all fire in the moment looks the same. When you're in a room and you see a fire, you don't think, oh, that fire is just in a trash can. You just think, fire, I got to do something about that. And the truth is that most fires in your business that you are currently fighting right now would be better left alone. Just to ignore them and let them put themselves out. Not every problem needs to be solved, but every house fire certainly does, because a house fire will, if left unattended, burn the house down. So this is how we prioritize and identify what are the things in the business right now that would actually threaten us. And a good example of this, for instance, right now in one of my companies, it's a property management company. We manage apartment complexes, and we have all sorts of things that we need to focus on. But fundamentally, a business like this, it thrives around three things: driving more revenue, decreasing maintenance expenses, and retaining residents for longer periods of time. Really, those are the three most important things. And when the business is not working how you want it to work, you want to go back to first principles and say, okay, what are the levers that actually matter within the business? Drive more revenue, decrease expenses, keep customers for longer. Okay, that's our fundamental. Now, there's all sorts of things that we could fix within the business. As you go in there and you identify, okay, we have these big three major problems. They're not usually just in isolation. These three problems are stemming from all sorts of other little things that have occurred along the way. But you have to be able to correctly identify which one of those little things needs to be solved in order to move the big lever, or which ones can just be ignored. And right now we have, so somebody came to me the other day on the team. They're like, hey, we have this key management problem. We need to solve how we're managing and maintaining the keys, who has access to them, how easy it is for the maintenance and the leasing team to get access to these things. Because right now it's taking them, 10, 15 minutes to get the keys and then get to the building and do what they do, right? But again, is this driving revenue, decreasing expenses, or helping maintain residents? I would look at that and say, okay, that's a dumpster fire that is close enough to the house that we need to worry about it at some point, but not quite yet. It's not quite yet. We need to keep an eye on those flames, and as soon as they start hitting the roof, they start hitting the siding of the building, now we need to address it. But first, we have these other fires actually inside. We have an electrical fire, we have a kitchen fire, we have somebody set a fire in the bathroom, right? So we gotta put those fires out first and just keep an eye on that dumpster fire, which is uncomfortably close to the house, but is not yet touching the house. And as soon as it creeps up, we start to see those flames touch. Okay, now we need to worry about that. But until we've solved all the fires that are actually burning inside and on the building, we don't worry about that. And now we take all the resources that we're going to go towards that. We just solve, let's put out these fires. And when you go through that process of systematically removing the house fires, once they're all out, now you can go back. And this is where you really want to be. In a healthy, thriving business, you don't want any house fires. You want to have that all completely taken care of. So the only fires you're really dealing with are dumpster fires. Then what you really want to identify is it even worth solving that dumpster fire? Or would we be better served in just focusing on the opportunities and continuing to grow the business? And so this is, do we focus on putting out problems or growing opportunities? And that's another conversation for a different time. If you want to hear about that, just tune in to the podcast. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. If you get any value out of this, it would mean the world to me, truly, if you would just share it with your friends, your family, your employees, your colleagues, anybody that you think would get some value out of the podcast. Tune them in. Do me a favor. Give me a solid. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.